I bought my first 2 rental properties within 3 years of each other, and we still own those rental properties today. And no, I didn't have wealthy parents, I didn't have a trust fund or an inheritance, and I wasn't making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And since then, I've helped hundreds of people do the exact same thing. And every time this comes up, I have someone say, yeah, those strategies, they work for when you bought a home, but they don't work today. Those people who say that are wrong. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you exactly what I did and how to apply it to you today. And before we get started, I have nothing to sell you, okay? I have a full real estate investment guide. People will charge thousands of dollars for this over a weekend course. I give it all away for free. That link is in the description below. Now, when did I want to become a real estate investor? Well, it was when I was in university. So in university, I owned a very small property management company. We helped landlords find tenants. And the longer that I hung around rental properties, the more I realized that that's what I wanted to do. So after graduation, I took a job at MCAP. I made $42,000 a year. And my girlfriend at the time, now wife Danielle, was making $46,000 at that same mortgage company. At the time, both were good salaries, not enormous salaries or anything crazy. The goal for us was to purchase a home. Now, I was currently renting essentially a closet for $500 a month. After graduation, a lot of my friends moved into nicer apartments or started renting a home. I didn't. I stayed where I was. My wife lived in the basement of a building and she paid $800 a month. So I actually have my expenses and my budget for when we were purchasing the home. It's always fun to look back. I'll actually flip it on the screen now. So our combined rents were $1,300 a month. Our income was $7,333, and after taxes, that left us with $6,030 every month between the two of us. Now, I owned a really old vehicle that I got at an auction, and my wife didn't drive. She took public transport. So we didn't have any car payments, and we worked really hard to make sure that we would pay off our university bill, so we didn't have any student debt. No credit cards, anything along those lines. And after our rents, our phone bill, our food bill, our gas, our insurance, it left us with $4,130 a month that we could set aside. Now, to expect us to set aside all of that and not have any fun just wasn't what we wanted to do. But our goal was to save somewhere between $3,000 and $3,500 per month to go towards a down payment. Now, it took us just over a year to find what we're looking for. And we weren't just looking for the cheapest condo that we could get into. We're looking for something very specific. What I learned from property management was the places with multiple units often made more money relative to their cost. So the goal was to buy a duplex. And so after about a year, we had saved enough to purchase a small detached home. While we started looking, we found out some pretty interesting information, at least to me. The bank actually didn't care whether the property was a legal duplex or not. They needed these 4 things. They needed a separate entrance, a bedroom, a bathroom, and a kitchen. If they had those 4 things, the bank actually didn't care whether the municipality called it legal or not. We were able to use the rental income to qualify. And that really helped us. We were able to purchase a bungalow for $350,000. And when we bought the home, we made a decision that almost nobody understood. We decided to rent out the upstairs and to live in the basement. We actually rented out the upstairs for $1,400 per month. And that was significantly more than what we would be able to rent the basement for. And when we moved in the basement, our rents essentially stayed the same as what we were paying before, but that allowed for us to pay the rest of the mortgage payments, the utilities, and set some money aside for things going wrong. The whole reason we bought this property was to get ready for the next one. So a lot of families said, look, you've been saving, you've been working hard, you deserve the larger space. You can afford it. And they probably were right. We could afford it, but that wasn't our goal. Our goal was to become real estate investors. And the goal was that next property. And living in the basement, although it was a sacrifice, it got us closer to our goal of purchasing the next property. And so since the expenses were about the same as what our rent was before, we continued to save. And we saved and we saved and we saved. And what I want to be clear on is things didn't go perfectly. Okay, we had a fridge that broke. Our laundry machines needed to be replaced. There were things that cost us more money than we thought. And that was something else that we realized is we need to make sure that we're setting aside 5% of what the rent of the building would have for these renovation and maintenance costs. That was something that we didn't factor in when we bought, that we definitely should have, and that was lesson learned. And looking back, it didn't seem like that big of a struggle. I know a lot of people thought that that was the case, but we were so laser focused on our goal. And now over the next couple of years, housing increased. So for these type of homes that we had bought for $350,000, we're now selling for $450,000 to $500,000. And I know what you're thinking, based off of this, to buy a rental, we need 20% down. And that's the case. However, we were never planning on putting 20% down. Our plan was to put 5% down. And why? Because we legitimately were going to move from the current place that we were living into the new. And this is the part that most people miss. They think because you already own a home that you can't have another property with less than 20% down. And that is not the case. As long as you are going to be living in the property, you can put less than 20% down. So over 3 years, again, some extra expenses slowed us down. We ended up actually purchasing our second property, and we had bought it for $400,000. Now, this was not a duplex at the time. What we did is the lender offered the ability to give us a loan that would allow for us to do the renovations on the basement to make it into legal duplex. The benefit of this was they actually used the rent for the place that wasn't built yet to help us qualify for that mortgage. So not only were we able to purchase a house that was less than the value at the time, but we were able to complete the renovations in a way that made sense for us. And so once that was completed, we lived in the basement and we rented out the upstairs. And here's the thing, moving forward, because of the increase in equity in both of the homes and the housing market, we actually didn't have to move from there on out. We could refinance and purchase several more of these duplexes that we still have today. What I want to be clear at is this is not telling you that you need to do exactly what I've done. You don't need to do all of the sacrifices that I have done as well. That's not the case. And believe me, it wasn't just me, my wife as well sacrificed a ton. But that amount of pain for that 5 years between saving for a home and purchasing our first 2 properties has set us up really well in the future. And once we had our first child on the way, we decided to purchase our dream home. Okay, so the big thing that I want you to realize is once you purchase the home for yourself, this ability to put less than 20% down, it disappears because no lender is going to truly believe that you're moving into a house that's worse than what you live in. And again, you're not going to want to if you're living in your dream home. So what I do want to be clear at is this is possible. Yes, housing has gotten more expensive. That's true. And I'm not arguing that point. And even relative to income, because income's gone up, but not near as much as housing has. But rent has also increased. Okay? And yes, you might not be able to purchase your first home in 1 year. It might take you 2 or 3 years, but it is possible. And the hardest property to purchase is your first one. Before you bought a property, you're paying somebody else's mortgage. Now you're paying your own. You're building something. Again, if I can leave you with a couple of things, the first is you don't have to sacrifice forever, but 5 years of sacrificing can help you in the long term. The second thing is if you're looking to purchase a property, you don't have to buy your dream property right away. Buying something that has rental potential that will help you make your payments can help you in the long term. The third thing is you don't have to buy a duplex at all. If you find a house that you can have renovations to make it into a couple of units, there are lenders who will lend you the money to do that renovation as well. And look, I'm not saying it's easy. Nothing in life worth doing ever is. And I'm not saying that you have it easier or as easy as I do. What I'm saying is it's possible. Believe that it's possible. And if you're interested in more information, I have my full real estate investment guide in the description below. Thanks for watching.